Good evening, everybody. Welcome into Gamecock Chalk Talk. I'm Corey Miller, the pastor of Page. Special guest in the house. To my right, former Gamecock point guard. He said it was 6'1", but I say 5'11". The captain, Carey, to my left. Now the head basketball coach at the University of South Carolina. Coach Frank Martin joins us in a special edition of Chalk Talk. Coach, thank you very much for being with me and the captain, of course. Always a pleasure to see you. If you're looking at this scene right now, you can see something different about us, right? There's something, a distinct difference. And at home, can you figure out what that is? I'll just tell you, you guys got some nice sweatsuits on. And I got a nice polo shirt on. Just saying, Coach. How you doing, Coach?
I'm doing great. Corey, you guys known this guy a lot longer than me.
Right.
But old Matt Cradell, who takes care of our gear, he takes care of that like Fort Knox. I'm going to work on that next couple days.
Worked on, of course, Mac, been around since I was here in 1987. That's a long time. I was 18.
I think he's pushing 40 years.
Yeah, it's a long time. Yeah. It's a long time. So, but anyway, let's talk some basketball, shall we, Coach? Of course, another season in effect. Been some ups and downs, some good wins, some tough losses, but just overall, the state of the basketball program where you are as you see it.
Corey, it's I kind of like in building a program to raising a child, and when they're 6, 7, 8, 9 years old, like my youngest ones are. You tell them to do stuff and they do it, and you don't have to worry about it. And then they become teenagers, which I've got a 16-year-old. And there's days that I kind of go to bed and I think he's got it figured out, and then I wake up the next day and something happened overnight where everything that you've tried to instill in him, it's just like they never even paid attention or forgot everything. And again, that's kind of what we're going through right now. I want to liken our team right now that we're in that teenage stage. Where on certain days I'm happy and we're doing things the right way, and on other days we're not. And what I've tried to do to keep myself sane and to keep our staff engaged and excited about what we're doing and our players, I ask everyone in our staff and everyone on our team every day, are we better today than we were 1 year ago? And I've gotten the answer yes by everybody every single time. And as long as that's the case, then we got to keep pushing forward.
When it comes to building the program, Frank, I was a part of it. I was a part of a rebuilding process when Coach Fogler first got here. I was his captain for 2 years, and the one advantage he had when he first got here, he had 3 returning starters, and Jamie Watson, Emmett Hall, 2 all-SEC performers. He had me as the point guard. I was amongst the leaders in steals and assists. So he had 3 proven commodities. When Dave Odom came, he took over a lot of what Coach Fogler left over, proven commodities. Darren Horn came. He had proven commodities in Devin Downey, Dominic Archie, some of those guys that have been through, older veteran guys that knew what it took to win in the SEC. Very nicely said, upon your arrival, you didn't have that. Probably your best player was the football player, a part-time football player, part-time basketball player in Bruce Ellington. How difficult does that make your progress, the process, trying to get it going and try to get it going to where you're able to sustain it over a long period of time?
Yeah, Carey, when we got to Kansas State, that was a program that had been over 500 for 4 years in a row, but had not quite gotten over the hump to get to the postseason. And when we got there, we had 5 seniors, one of which is still in the NBA to this day. That allowed us to turn things over a lot quicker. It wasn't easy at first, and you probably remember when Coach Fogler first got here, probably was different than what you were used to.
Some difficult moments.
Yeah, it's part of change everywhere you go. And but for whatever reason, Carey, I'm not into dwelling in the negativity and all that stuff. We just didn't have that. And the one guy that was a rock, and I shared this with our team earlier this year, the one guy that was a rock on that team my first year from day one was Bruce Ellington. He used to come in on Mondays during football season, which is the day that you rest your bodies after getting your brains beaten on Saturdays. And he'd come in and he'd go in the gym and shoot balls for an hour and a half. I couldn't get anyone on our team at the time to come in on their own and shoot. And he's coming in on his days off from football, getting our videos, our offenses downloaded to his iPod, and then shooting balls for an hour and a half. And then he'd come in and watch practice every time he can. He just came in and practiced with us the other day, and he's in an NFL contract, and that's how much he cared. And when we lost him, we lost any kind of leadership we had in the locker room.
When you look at your team, Frank, everything today, to me, as a football, basketball, matter what sport, it's a microwave kind of society. People want, hey, let me slide this in the microwave oven, and I want instant success right now. As a coach, how hard is it now, especially with social media, which you do a great job of connecting with the fans and all that? Not just building a basketball team, even for you, it's getting the fans to come back and believing in your basketball team. But that being said, how difficult is that for you as a coach and your staff?
Yeah, it's hard, Corey. It's hard. Like, Saturday, we obviously wasn't one of our better moments as a team since I've been here when we played at Kentucky. And after the game, I was going to get on Twitter to put a message out to fans, not to apologize, but just to let them know that it was an unfortunate day. And the negativity that was on my Twitter page, I just put it down. I'm not a negative guy. I don't enjoy negativity. I don't share negative vibes with people around me. And if it bothered me, imagine those 19-year-olds that don't understand how to manage your day, your emotion. We as grown men don't do that as well as we need to sometimes. But that's kind of part of our culture, part of our society. We're going to speak about that as a team. Making sure that guys don't get wrapped up in the negativity that can get to you through social media. But we're big boys. We know what we sign up for, Corey. We understand the lay of the land. We understand, when I took the job here, I understood the school had not won an NCAA tournament game since '71. I understood they've only had 3 winning conference seasons in the history of the SEC conference. I understood all those things, and I was still willing to take the job. I'm just as excited today as I was day one. We're better. We're in a better place. Our staff's recruited in an unbelievable way. In recruiting, just like your team, every class you want it to be better. And I think we've done that. I think our first recruiting class was solid. I think our second was better. And I think this year is going to be even better than last year's. Probably,
Frank, you and I have talked about when first taking the job, maybe it was a little bit more than what you thought when you initially signed up for it. You had a great high school coaching career. We know the run you had while at K-State. How difficult has it been for you to manage what you're going through right now? You've won your entire career, and having to manage this, you just talked about how difficult it is for the 19 and 20-year-old kids to manage social media and just the negativity. As a coach, how have you managed going through what you're going through right now?
Yeah, Carey, people think it's, this new phrase called coach speak. They think that that's what I do when I say some of the things I speak about. I've never, because I got to coaching to help the kids in the neighborhood that I grew up in. That's why I started coaching. And so to me, it wasn't about winning and losing games. To me, it was about helping them guys figure out a way out the way I was being taught to get out. And I keep it there. I tend not to invest my emotions into winning and losing. I get more frustrated when I can't reach a young man than I do when we lose a game. That hurts me a lot more. I sleep less when I go through something like that. But I'll tell you what's happened to me, though. I've had to become a better coach because of this experience. You hear people say all the time, when adversity hits, embrace it and all that. That's easy said when you're not the one in the middle of it. When you're in the middle of it, it's not as easy as it sounds. It looks great in a book and it looks great in the slogan up on the wall, but when you're in the middle of it, it's frustrating sometimes. But the saving grace for me has been that how I started coaching, what was important to me, I've kept it there. And then as we go through the ups and downs that we've been through for the last couple of years, I have faith that at the end, I've had to learn how to become a better coach. And we'll laugh about this, but it's true. It's made me understand how to calm down a little bit. This year's team, I can't be as aggressive as I've been in the past with them because we're too young, too inexperienced, too tied into social media, too wrapped up in stuff that I've had to kind of take a certain step back. And it's fine. It's all part of it, and it's helped me a lot.
Was there a certain moment during the season when you realized that, they're a little bit young, I need to take a step back? Was there a certain moment in the season?
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss?
Ole Miss.
Yeah, I was thinking that.
Yeah, the Ole Miss game. We had some success early. And And if you guys remember what I said back then, I said, like, first of all, there's no parades in January in basketball.
Right.
And secondly, we're getting ready to play 18 games like the one we just played against Iowa State. And our guys didn't quite comprehend that. Yeah. And we didn't handle that real well. And then instead of me handling things a certain way in private, I handled them differently. And we went out and played Ole Miss, and it was just bad. And I was sitting on the bench during that game, and that's when I told myself, I said, Frank, you mishandled this moment. And I had to take a step back. And from that point forward, I think we started getting back to some of the things that we're doing pretty well. That hasn't resulted in as many wins and losses as we'd like. But outside of Saturday at Kentucky, you know, we've lined up and we've gone nose to nose with the leadership of this league. And if you did a strength of schedule for conference games up to this point, we have the hardest conference schedule of any team in our league.
Wow.
Up to this point. Now that doesn't mean that being 3-8 or 3-9, whatever we are, is acceptable. But it's kind of a challenge that's been thrown at our team that just like I'm getting better because of the adversity that we're going through, our team will get better because of this.
No doubt about it. I think folks need to really pay attention to, again, when Steve Spurrier got here, it wasn't all pretty. There had to be a lot of changes, had to upset some people even. Ray Tanner's baseball team, it didn't happen overnight, and for Dawn Staley, we're all raving about 30 wins at home in a row. I remember when folks were complaining about her salary and everything like that. So let's not forget about all that stuff. So we'll talk more about it. We'll talk about the process, recruiting, because that's a big deal. If you want to get better, you got to have some Jimmys and Joes in the house to make that change. That's all coming up next right here on Chalk Talk. All right, welcome back to Chalk Talk. Corey Miller, Frank Martin, the captain. Carey Rich here with you. Of course, guys, when we talk about building a program, no matter what it is, what sport it is, you got to have great football players. I mean, I've heard some of the best coaches say, hey, you know what, I stand on this platform, I get big raises. Like, one, I do coach, but if I don't have great players, it's going to be, I mean, you can only do so much with limited talent. So how, you know, let's talk about the process of recruiting, Cap. I know you talked about it on our show one night about some of the things that it takes for a kid to get recruited so that a Frank Martin, when he walks into a gym, that kid can be seen, or he's going to see the skill level of that player.
Yeah, Frank mentioned earlier about how each one of his recruiting classes have gotten better. And we had a segment the other day. Many parents ask me all of the time, what does it take for my kid to get recruited? What are the things he or she needs to do to get recruited? And you and I watched several high school games together. We watched several recruits together. And for each coach is a little bit different, but the general basis of recruitment is pretty much the same when it comes to IQ, motor, weapon, your level of intelligence, your skill set. What are some of the things you're looking for as a coach when you walk into the gym? Is it the stats that just wow you? Is it the amount of points that just wow you as a coach?
I don't pay attention to stats. I'm not a stats guy. I've got to see, obviously, Carey, and both of you guys did it at the highest level in your respective sports, you got to have a sense of athleticism, of skill level to be able to do it in the SEC. We've got to go beat Kentucky. We got to go beat Florida. We can't do that with Division II players. You know, you got to have a certain talent, of athleticism and all that. But once we see all that, I start paying attention to everything else. I don't like going to games as much as I like going to practice, because I like to see how that young man interacts with his teammates. You know, when they're in a drill, is he trying to take the drill off? He's not going. He doesn't want to get coached. I don't want to deal with him. If his teammates make a play, does he help his teammates? If he makes a play, do his teammates come help him, or they just kind of leave him alone? I kind of like to watch that. And then when I go to games, the last thing I pay attention to is their performance. I'm watching to see what they're doing during the game. Are they engaged with their coach? Are they engaged with their teammates? Are they engaged with the assistant coaches? Are they paying attention to people in the stands rather than their team? See, those are what I call those selfish traits that I don't like. Some coaches can deal with them. Me personally, I don't enjoy them. I like kids that are about winning. I like kids that are looking for questions. They're looking for the answers to the questions, not the ones that are bringing the answers to what I have to say. And somehow we try to connect all those things together and find people like P.J. Dozier. That's why everyone wants to rave with the fact that, and so happy that he's a McDonald All-American.
Yeah.
So for the adversity that he's been through, to be able to maintain and sustain that credibility nationally, should help people understand the kind of respect that he has when he gets outside of Columbia, South Carolina. Sure. And but when I used to go watch him play, I don't care if his inside-out dribble is nice. I didn't care how high he jumped to dunk. He better have those things to be a successful player in the SEC. It's how his teammates migrate to him.
Yes.
All his teammates always went to him. He didn't go to them. They went to him. That told me that young man's got a chance to be a leader. When you go watch him practice, his desire to do what he's being asked to do by obviously his father, Perry Sr., who's his high school coach. When you see all those things, it showed me that that's the kind of person that we're going to enjoy coaching in our program.
So you mean to tell me in today's society, stats, especially with some of the parents, we have parents now sitting in the stands.
26 and 15, that's what I did in high school.
We have parents now sitting in the stands keeping stats. So in today's society, are you telling me you're not wowed by the number of points a kid scores? That's unbelievable, Frank.
Hey, let me ask you this, Carey. Are there bad teams out there in the NBA?
Absolutely.
Yes.
How about in college basketball?
Absolutely.
Don't all those teams have a guy average 20 points, 10 rebounds a game?
Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, if you just pay attention to stats, then you're going to get stats. I like to win. So I want to have guys in our program that you see everywhere you go, you learn something new. I believe. You're always listening. And he said something to me one time, Corey. He said, Frank, these kids do all these things in high school and they get this and they get that and get that. When they walk in a college locker room, ain't none of those guys care, excuse the bad English, but ain't none of those guys care about what you did in high school, man. What are you going to do to help us win?
Check your resume at the door.
And that's his line. Check your resume at the door. And I use it now. It's the truth. Who cares if you average 27 points a game? Carey, my second to last high school team I coached had 12 guys sign Division I scholarships on that team.
Wow.
2 play in the NBA as we speak. Highest minutes per game on that team was Steve Blake, which was 19 minutes a game. We won 3 state championships. The proudest thing to me of all that is that 11 of those 12 guys became college team captains. That made me understand that when they got to college, they put winning above everything else. And you know what? One won a national championship as a starting point guard. Another one played for the national championship as a starting center. And those are the 2 guys that are still in the NBA, and Steve Blake and Udonis Haslem. So to me, it's about winning. It's about winning. And as a player, I know this. Every real good player I've been around wants you to coach them every day.
Right.
They don't want you to show them the easy way out. They don't want you to read him his stats. They want to know, hey, man, I got this matchup tomorrow. Help me beat that guy. Help me win that game. And it's my job to continue to prepare those guys.
All right, good stuff. I'm going to check my resume at the door, I guess. 26 and 15, Frank. That's what I had.
No, your resume's good. It's in stone.
I'll check it at the door. When we come back, I want to take a look at Georgia. That's upcoming on Tuesday. Of course, I want to talk to Frank more about going forward, the process going forward with this basketball team. We'll be back in just a moment. Welcome back to Chalk Talk, and finally, I want to talk about moving forward now. We talked a little bit about the process. Coach Georgia's coming up. He took care of those guys at home. So is there a comfort level now going to their place to Athens this game tomorrow night?
Yeah, I don't know if you ever have a just a confidence level to go play a good team again. But in your heart, you know that you played and you played well against them. So there shouldn't be any doubt in the back of anyone's mind that we can play well again. And but they're good. They just lost a tough game. They weren't fully healthy when they came to us. Neither were we. But now they got their center back, and we go into their building, and I'm sure they're not going to be real happy with us. But that's okay. That's the beauty of sports. You got to get up, tighten up your pants, and go.
It's all about competing. You know about that, don't you, Captain?
Absolutely.
What was your average? You said check the resume at the door, but you quick to tell me about what you average. Right? I'm just making sure about that.
College or high school?
No, college.
10 and 5.
But he said, remember those stats, but stats.
Amongst the leaders in the SEC, too.
Amongst the leaders. You threw all that out there, but check it at the door. That's just the captain. All right, Coach. Again, you came off a tough loss at Kentucky. You talked about Twitter, but if you could say something to the fans, because I think sometimes fans need that building up. You know, where are you as a coach? Where are you as a program? What would you say to them right now? Where your basketball program? Because I agree, I think the basketball program is much further than it was last year at this time. I look at that. But for that I heard you say fans are not at practice. You know, you've been a fan. I heard what you said, and I agree with that. They don't understand, but now they get a chance to hear from you directly.
Yeah, it's, you know, Corey, it's success is not a microwave society. You know, yes, can you get a quick lunch in a microwave? Absolutely.
Right.
It doesn't taste the same as when you have a good, well-cooked, home-cooked meal. And it's a little different. And I didn't come here to win in 3 years.
Right.
I came here to build a program, something that unfortunately the school didn't have. You know, there's the captain said earlier, there are some challenges internally that I was not aware of.
Right.
You always think you know a job when you take a job. Oh, I know what the problems are.
Right.
You get in it, and you're like, holy cow, these problems are a lot deeper, a lot bigger, a lot more complicated than you thought. We're solving those problems. Our fans are incredible. I don't have to tell you guys.
Right.
You guys have played in front of these great fans here. The way they support all the teams, we're going to be okay. You know, we've got some challenges within our team that we're fighting. That's part of the process. We're not going to go from winning 1-2 conference games to winning the conference championship in 3 years.
Right.
It's just not going to happen. I'd like for it to happen, but this is what I hang my hat on. This is what gets me out of bed every day. There's a group of kids that believed in the University of South Carolina. They believed in Frank Martin, and they believed in our program for their success, for their growth, and that together we're going to make this a championship level program. And when I say together, I include the fans in this, because the only reason we've been winning at home lately, which we have, compared to 2 years ago, where every time we took the court 2 years ago, we lost by 20 in conference play. And the only reason we're winning our home games right now is because the fans have been so good. When I read the negativity that was directed at me, I'm okay with that. But please keep it off the kids' plates, because they're 18, 19 years old. They came here to represent our school.
Right.
They're sacrificing their bodies, trying to do everything they can to help us build this program. I'm a big boy. If they want to throw it at me, throw it at me. I understand. I don't enjoy it, but it's my job to stand up and keep it away from our guys. But support our guys. Our guys have not done anything wrong. Have they won the way I'd like them to? No. But you know what? I'm not turning my backs on them. We're going to stay in their corner. We're going to keep growing. And see, there's only two options here, Corey. We're either going to win the SEC or they're going to put me in a box. Right. Those are the only two options. And to do that, I need all hands on deck to make this happen.
Well, Coach, I really appreciate your time. Of course, I wish you could be here every week. I love talking some hoops with you. Thanks so much.
Thanks for having me.
Looking forward to have my nice sweats.
What about talking hoops with me?
I love you. All right, that's come to it for Talk, guys. Thank you very much for staying up late with us. We'll see y'all next week.